third from the top is Bryan Danielson against Will Ospreay. Don Callis is on commentary, and just the entrances alone, like this crowd was buzzing, and I don't say that lightly. Danielson has got stitches on his forehead from this bunkhouse brawl that he had on Saturday night. I cannot believe that I watched this bunkhouse brawl way, and I'm not kidding. There are years in the past, I think that bunkhouse brawl might have been some people's match of the year. That bunkhouse brawl was amazing. It was one of the better TV matches I have seen in a long time. And I'm watching this match, and at the end, and I'm thinking, no one is even going to remember this by Monday. And that's probably the case. It's not even Bryan Danielson's best match in a 24-hour period.
That's wild.
Yes, but it was a great match. So we start things off. The crowd is going nuts as they just stare at one another and are smiling. And the bell rings. And dude, you have never heard these people just be so thankful to be on this planet in the same era as these two men who have chosen to be professional wrestlers. And Bryan Danielson early on, like he's doing all this little stuff. Like he's got him in a headlock and he's hitting him with these open hand palm strikes and evading Ospreay's kicks. And we just reach a stalemate as the crowd's going nuts here for their standoff. And then he gives Ospreay the middle finger after Ospreay catches his leg and they go into a chop battle. Ospreay does a springboard and Bryan Danielson kicks him right near the liver, and down goes Ospreay, selling the body shot. And that's when Bryan Danielson immediately targets the liver with knees from the tie clinch right to the affected area. And Ospreay finally cuts off Danielson, sending him to the floor, and manages the leap of faith as... I mean, this audience was pretty much at a 10 from start to finish of this match. We got the cattle mutilation. Then Danielson goes for a Rana off the top, and Ospreay just seamlessly lands on his feet and comes back with a tiger driver. And Ospreay gets knocked off balance off the top, and Danielson climbs to the top. And he puts one arm under, and then another underhook. And then you're wondering, oh my God, Bryan Danielson manages a tiger suplex off the top turnbuckle.
Crazy.
And this is like 15 minutes into this match.
It's such a crazy and rarely seen bump, requiring a ton of trust in somebody being able to, I don't know, tilt you in the right angle, so that you can land on, hopefully not your head, without the use of your arms, to break your fall. Yeah, just crazy.
They manage to make their way to the edge of the apron, and this is where Ospreay hits the Os Cutter. And at this point, the crowd gets to their feet and chanting, "We're not worthy," which might be a first in terms of a chant at a wrestling show that I can recall. Ospreay leaps off the apron with the forearm as Bryce is tending to Danielson, and as Danielson beats the count in, he is nailed with a springboard dropkick. And then we see the Os Cutter caught coming down as Danielson goes for the label lock. It's blocked, so he transitions to the guillotine, and then I love this. He goes and does La Mystica, fully getting into the label lock, and is hyperextending the shoulder. And here is just like this little like influence of like his lucha trip over the last month, and where he did have, you know, the 8-man with Mystico as well. Then we see a Dragon Rana by Danielson. So mixing in some lucha that I definitely think is not just a coincidence that he was like mixing in some of the stuff over the last month. And then ducks a hidden blade and hits the Busaiku knee for an amazing near fall at this point. So Danielson then goes to stomps. He's fish hooking Will Ospreay. Not allowed under the unified rules, but we're not the unified rules here in AEW. So Ospreay is hitting massive forearms inside of Danielson's guard, and you're almost thinking like, oh my God, are they going to do a stoppage finish? Because Danielson goes limp at one point from these forearms, but then he just fires back, locking on a triangle.
The commentary was trying to convey that it was him playing possum to get Ospreay off guard for the triangle. Yeah.
So Ospreay, to break out of the triangle, postures up to his feet and hits a Styles Clash to exit out of the triangle. So for all you black belts out there, I mean, you're getting some cheat codes here to get out of a triangle.
Yeah, I don't know if the Gracies ever tried this, but you know, jiu-jitsu is always evolving. Yeah.
So then the two men get on all fours and they just like have to get in their requisite headbutts. And then these brutal slaps are delivered by Danielson. And he hits the shoulder capture suplex, but Ospreay roars to his feet and lands a running elbow. And then in maybe the most incredible counter here, he goes for the Os cutter and is hit with a picture perfect Busaiku in midair that looked amazing in the moment, and the replay made it look even better.
Might have been my favorite spot of the whole match.
I think it was mine. It just looked so great, and you were not expecting it. And the height he got and landing it, like this could have looked bad. Just the timing is
the
just
timing was outstanding.
It was impeccable.
And how on target it was too. Like I haven't seen the replay of it yet, but like it looked like it hit him right in the head.
He might have and I'm sure they had these agreements of just like.
But it was like, but even if you intended on doing it, like how perfect do you have to time it in your own body and in your opponent's body in order to meet like that with both of you, like having to make these split-second movements and decisions in that moment like that.
And then we go to the final sequence, and they just go to their corners, and I love this. Oof. And it's just like it's like the crashing of the bulls, basically.
It's like a Texas Western shootout where like you walk to opposing sides, you know exactly what your opponent is about to do, but it's about who can draw fastest. And it's kind of like a game of chicken. Pretty much.
Like this was the pro wrestling equivalent of what we saw with Max Holloway and Justin Gaethje last weekend. In an MMA fight, you can't really go to your corners in the final 10 seconds and then just come at each other, but it was kind of the same spirit. And Ospreay removes the elbow pad. Danielson is getting ready, and they just run at one another, and it's the hidden blade that hits first. And he nails Danielson, underhooks him, and delivers the Storm Driver 93. And Bryce is screaming at Doc Sampson, and you just see Ospreay in the background, and he runs at Danielson with the match-ending hidden blade to pin Danielson at 32 minutes and 40 seconds in one of the most incredible matches you are ever going to see.
Yeah. There were already very unrealistic expectations for this match, and this match greatly exceeded them. First of all, the atmosphere alone from the beginning of this match was unbelievable. St. Louis, I think, completely played their part in elevating this match to an even higher status than I think what its content alone dictated. But man, it's like this is the type of match that I think will probably be studied for many years to come, just simply for so many things, but especially the timing of these two and the design of some of these sequences. They told, first of all, like a great classic story of, a high flyer versus a grappler, somebody who, will nullify Ospreay's athleticism just by, knowledge of technique and ground-based submissions. Then the later part of the match put a lot more emphasis than I was anticipating on their dueling charging finishers here in the Busaiku knee and the hidden blade, and that just allowed for so much like great storytelling and interesting scenes, like that ending Western duel between the two of them. I just loved that finish. It was so awesome. And at this point, you just kind of debate about where this match might rank, not just among the matches of the year, but among both men's entire careers. And we're talking incredible catalogs for the both of them.
This is among the best matches I've ever seen. I have no reservations in saying that. I don't think that's recency bias. I will guarantee you I will rewatch this at some point and feel the exact same way. And I think there were so many little things, especially on the side of Danielson, that you could just hyper focus on, and it's only going to enhance your viewing of this a second or third time. So Danielson in the post match, he is down and he is selling like he can't move. He's just screaming, and Sampson is checking on him. The EMTs are in there checking on him. Ospreay is concerned. And I mean, the only way is that, I mean, we literally saw this at the ROH show a few weeks ago. Like they did a similar tease of like with Billy Starks as well. And knowing that it's a Bryan Danielson, I don't feel there was anybody in this building that was concerned that this was like something had gone awry here. Just knowing, especially the Bryan Danielson style of selling. but I think it really got over the impact of the Tiger Driver like that much more. I actually wish Will had not used that move once since the Kenny Omega match.
Yeah.
And this was because he's used that in pretty much all his matches. And it's the
near
it's a
falls.
setup. It's a setup move.
Finishers. Yeah.
And I kind of wish like this was the first time he brought it out since Forbidden Door. But I mean, man, you're really
maybe to like an AEW exclusive viewer, like it still felt that special because I guess you wouldn't have seen it on AEW TV until now. But I agree. And like I had no issues whatsoever. Like, you know, if we're talking about comfort level with a spot like this,
if anything, I kind of liked like watching this, and it was like you were, like I don't really like to watch wrestling with the idea that we're going to play with paralysis as a potential outcome.
Well, yeah, I mean, we talked about the Billy Starks one on our ROH review, and maybe being there live is kind of different, but like because I could see this one on camera, like it looked like a very safe.
He took it very as well as you can for like that type of a maneuver.
Certainly compared to the Kenny one, like this looked like a very safe Tiger Driver. And for me, maybe I even hate saying this, but like the drama wasn't there as much as a result. But I can get into it simply because I know that they're going to tell a bigger story from the spot, and I'm able to suspend my disbelief just, you know, because I'm engaged for that reason. And at the end, like I'm much happier seeing a move that is safe in order like to tell a story versus a move that could legitimately put a man's health in danger.
Yeah. I think these two are going to wrap up match of the year. I hazard to say that in April because we don't know what we will see later this year. I would state that if any two people are going to usurp this match, it's going to involve one of these two. And I think this is your 1-2 race for Wrestler of the Year as well. It's going to be these two because as much as Ospreay feels like the foregone winner for 2024, like Danielson, I mean, just this weekend, dude, like watch that bunkhouse brawl if you have a chance. And the fact that he did that 24 hours before this, it's two of the greatest matches I've ever seen from someone on back-to-back nights. It's unreal.
Danielson is closing out his career with the best run of his entire career, at least when we're talking about in-ring content. But Will Ospreay is just on another level, man. Like he's just exceptional. Like I very well could involve Danielson and somebody else when we're talking at the end of the year, but I wouldn't really bet on one of those people not being Will Ospreay. Like he to me is the consistent part of the equation in all of these discussions. He's just so
I would say outside of some injury that sidelined him, I would say like that is your
barring a Kenny Omega return and like, you know, Omega Ospreay 3, which I think would be one of the only things that could threaten it. This might have wrapped it up unless these two have their own rematch,
which is possible. Yeah. So an amazing match. One of the greatest you're going to see. I think if you order a pay-per-view and you have a match that is among the greatest you've ever seen, then I think like that's there's thumbs up and then there's another level for what this was.